The Ministry of External Affairs has now approached the Law Ministry for options on how to get the two Italian Marines back into India. This is what sources are telling headlines today. Legal options are being considered. What is also being taken into account was that it was a Supreme Court order based on which the two Italian Marines were sent home. What is the best way forward? The External Affairs Ministry is now seeking an opinion from the Law Ministry, and let me now bring in headlines today as Maha Siddiqui for more on this. Maha, this is extremely embarrassing for the Ministry of External Affairs. So what are the options that are being explored?
Well, there is no doubt about the fact that this is embarrassing because India has been tricked into sending those Marines. It was a relief that was granted to them to cast their votes, and it has absolutely been misused, where the Italian government now says that they will not come back. And it was in many ways very cleverly crafted, because remember, Gaurav, they had been granted relief by a Kerala court for Christmas as well, after which they came back. And based on that, the Supreme Court then allowed them to go and vote, and now they are not coming back. Now, this has two aspects to it. One, two parallel ways of getting them back have to be adopted here. One legal, yes, the other diplomatic. Legal because the Supreme Court had allowed them to go back, and therefore we are seeing a legal team of the Ministry of External Affairs in touch with the Law Ministry. As you said there, our sources are telling us that they are formulating a way as to how, what is the next course of action going to be like. Okay. Diplomatically, yes, everybody was expecting that the Italian ambassador might perhaps be summoned, because he would have guaranteed that these Marines would come back. Yes. However, as of now, there has been no movement on that. We are not seeing a summoning happening right away, but that, of course, is an option at the moment diplomatically to put pressure on Italy.
Okay, because the government and especially the Ministry of External Affairs is in the eye of a storm. Leaders in Kerala are alleging that somebody very high up in government of India was actually a part of this conspiracy. What sources are also telling us that it's the External Affairs Ministry which submitted in the Supreme Court that the Italians may be permitted to go home to Italy. They will return. So who is this person in the Ministry of External Affairs who was giving such a carte blanche to the Italian Marines? We'll investigate that story. But in the meantime, Minister of State, External Affairs, Praneet Kaur, she's refused to make a statement, a strong statement against Italy. She says the matter is sub judice, the matter is in Supreme Court. Let's listen in to Praneet Kaur before we move forward in this bulletin.
All I can say at the moment is that the matter is in the Supreme Court. So I would not like to comment on something that is sub judice. I think we will have a look at the whole thing in perspective, and certainly the law will take its course.
Law will take its own course, says Praneet Kaur, MOS External Affairs. Let me once again bring in headlines today. Maha Siddiqui. Maha, what sources in the legal fraternity are telling us is that the Supreme Court took a decision, but that decision was based on inputs given by Ministry of External Affairs. The Ministry of External Affairs had no objection to these two Italian Marines being sent home. Isn't that extremely embarrassing? Because the Kerala government kept opposing it, and the Kerala government expressed fears that the Marines will not return, and that is exactly what happened.
Absolutely, Gaurav. There is no denying that fact, because even the first time that the Kerala court had allowed them to go off for Christmas vacations, there was an outrage that why must two Marines who are accused of killing two Indian fishermen in Indian territories, yes, also the fact that they are the sole bread earners coming from really poor family, looking at all that, why should they be allowed to go and celebrate Christmas? Even at that time, sources had been telling us that the Ministry of External Affairs had told the Kerala court that they were not against this interim relief that was being given to them, yes, because there was guarantee that they would come back, and therefore the legal process is on, so the court could take its view on this. Now we are seeing that the same basis has been used, and the Supreme Court granted them relief, and naturally that relief would have come after consulting the Ministry of External Affairs, which is one of the major stakeholders in this case, considering that it is related to another country.